story opens in a small Italian town called Avashat. On Christmas Eve morning, a girl is seen leaving her house. She pauses briefly along the way, then continues walking. 2 months later, in February, a psychiatrist named Dr. Flores is awakened by an urgent call. He rushes to the police station, where an officer informs him about a man involved in a car accident. The man turns out to be Detective Vogel, who had investigated the mysterious disappearance of a girl last December, a case that had shocked the town during the holidays. Dr. Flores greets Vogel and asks about the blood on his shirt and how he escaped the accident unscathed. Vogel looks at the stain and begins recounting the events that led to this moment. The scene shifts to a flashback in December, when Vogel arrives in Avashat to investigate the disappearance of 16-year-old Anna Lou Kastner. A renowned detective with a perfect record, Vogel is welcomed by his subordinate, Borgi, who takes him to meet Anna's parents. At the Kastner home, Anna's parents described their daughter as obedient and religious. She wasn't on social media and had a sheltered life. On the morning of December 23rd, Anna left for church but never arrived. Vogel suggests a public appeal to draw media attention and help the case gain traction. Outside the house, Vogel starts clapping loudly. When neighbors emerge to see what's going on, he notes their reactions, testing how quickly the community responds to disturbances. At his office, Vogel analyzes the case. Anna's phone turned off just 7 minutes after she left home. There's no sign she left town, and CCTV reveals no suspicious activity. He concludes she's still in Avashat and the perpetrator is likely someone she knows. As the investigation stagnates, Vogel has his team dress in white uniforms and inspect a random location, creating the illusion of a forensic search. The media assumes progress is being made, and the case gains national attention. With newfound resources, Vogel's office becomes packed with investigators. One day, Anna's father brings her diary to Vogel, discovered while cleaning her room. It contains a photo of Anna with her best friend, Priscilla. The father confesses that he repeatedly called Priscilla's number but remained silent, something he regrets. Vogel dismisses it and advises him to return home. Later, Vogel secretly meets journalist Stella. He gives her the diary, and Stella remarks that it seems too carefully written, as if Anna expected her parents to read it. She urges Vogel to find the real diary and agrees to help make the case famous in return for exclusives. As part of their plan, Stella anonymously leaves a stuffed kitten outside Anna's house. The media covers it, and people begin gathering there with candles. Officers observe the crowd, hoping the perpetrator might show up. Among them, a teenage boy named Matthias snaps a photo and picks up the kitten. An officer notices, but Vogel tells her not to act, fearing media interference. The next evening, Borgi calls Vogel, informing him that Mattia attends the same school as Anna and has a history of photographing couples in public. He's also under psychiatric care. Vogel notifies Stella that something significant might happen that day and gives her a 25-minute head start. He then breaks into Mattia's house and finds a video on his laptop featuring Anna. When Mattia comes home and finds Vogel, the detective tells him he can make him famous and urges him to reveal what he knows. Mattia, obsessed with Anna, shows another video, which repeatedly features a suspicious SUV. The narrative flashes back several weeks to introduce Professor Loris Martini, an English teacher at Anna's school. One day, Priscilla flirts with him after class and asks for acting lessons, knowing he once did theater. Though reluctant, Loris eventually agrees and takes her number. At home, we learn that Loris lives with his wife Clea, a former lawyer struggling to find work in the small town. Depressed and isolated, Clea depends on Loris, who plans a solo mountain hike for December 23rd. He returns that evening to news that Anna is missing. When Clea points out Anna is a student at his school, Loris claims not to know her and downplays the incident. She notices a wound on his hand, which he blames on a hiking accident. They also have a daughter, Monica, who's unhappy about moving and argues frequently with her parents. The next day at school, Loris sees Priscilla again and texts her, inviting her over for acting lessons. Flyers about Anna's disappearance begin to spread. Days later, at a gas station, Loris sees that his SUV has gone viral in the news and is suspected in the kidnapping. He panics and rushes home. Confused and scared, he calls the police. Borgi answers, and Loris explains that the SUV is his but insists it's all a misunderstanding. Borgi advises him to hire a lawyer and not call again. The following morning, Loris decides to go to the police station to clear up the misunderstanding. But as he steps outside, he finds himself surrounded by journalists demanding to know if he is the culprit. A car pulls up, and a man inside urges him to get in. The man introduces himself as Giorgio, a lawyer, and advises Loris not to go to the police. He explains that if the evidence against him were truly solid, he would have already been arrested. Giorgio believes the media is being used to break Loris down under public pressure. He offers to represent Loris, but Loris says he doesn't have much money and promises to discuss it with his wife first. That evening, Borgi and a few officers arrive at Loris's house to collect his DNA. Loris cooperates, and they also confiscate his SUV. Vogel inspects the vehicle and finds it recently cleaned, with nothing inside except some cat hair. He then visits Anna's mother, who is emotionally shattered. She cannot believe a schoolteacher like Loris could harm Anna. Vogel gives no clear answer, but assures her he's doing everything possible to find her daughter. Suddenly, Vogel receives an anonymous message claiming Loris is innocent. Meanwhile, Loris and Clea decide to hire Giorgio. Loris is confused about why he hasn't been formally questioned yet. Giorgio explains that Vogel is deliberately delaying, likely to build a case and frame him. He then reveals Vogel's dark past. In the notorious mutilator case, Vogel wrongfully accused an innocent man who lost his family and suffered a stroke in prison. Though later exonerated and compensated with $1 million, the man never recovered from the trauma. Soon after, Priscilla appears on television, pretending to be modest as she tearfully claims that Loris had invited her to his house. Watching the interview, Clea becomes furious and argues with her husband. Loris insists he only invited Priscilla for acting lessons, and nothing more. Unbeknownst to them, Vogel has bugged their home and is listening to their conversation. This leads Clea to leave the house with their daughter, Monica. That evening, Giorgio arranges a meeting between Loris and journalist Stella. Stella confronts Loris with private details about his life, including how his wife cheated on him. Information no one should know. She tells him the public has already judged him and offers him money for an exclusive interview. She argues that once he's in jail, he'll be worthless, so he might as well cash in now. Loris refuses and leaves. Meanwhile, Vogel continues to receive anonymous messages insisting on Loris's innocence. He suspects Stella, but she denies sending them. The next day, Vogel meets with Loris and gives him one last chance to prove his innocence. Vogel points out that Loris has no alibi, his hand wound is suspicious, and cat hair was found in his SUV, suggesting that a cat may have been used to lure Anna. He warns that if they find the cat, it's over for Loris. Loris, frustrated, replies cryptically, "The devil's dumbest sin is vanity," and storms out. Vogel notices Loris's blood from an earlier wound left on the table. The next morning, Anna's backpack is found in a nearby river. Meanwhile, Loris shaves his beard and returns to teaching. During class, Vogel shows up, claiming he's just observing. After the lesson, he claps and praises Loris, then whispers that his blood was found on Anna's backpack. The scene shifts back to the present, where Vogel is recounting everything to Dr. Flores. Flores begins to realize that Vogel must have planted the blood himself to frame Loris. When asked if it's true, Vogel coldly replies that justice no longer matters to anyone. Back in the past, Loris is arrested for Anna's murder. Vogel prepares to leave town but receives another anonymous message. When he calls the number, a journalist named Beatrice answers. She tells him she can prove Loris is innocent and urges him to search online for the Fog Man. Vogel learns that 30 years ago, 6 girls with red hair and freckles, just like Anna, disappeared from Avashat. Beatrice, who spent her life tracking the real killer, was dismissed as crazy when authorities declared the girls had simply run away. Beatrice reveals she received a package on the day Anna disappeared. Inside was Anna's real diary, delivered in Vogel's name. When Vogel asks what she wants, she simply says, "Justice." Vogel reads Anna's diary and discovers she had fallen in love during summer with a boy named Oliver, symbolized by the letter O she drew on her wrist. Inside the package is also a photo showing a spot in the forest. Vogel goes there, digs, and finds a buried VHS tape. When he plays it, he sees Anna unconscious next to a mysterious man holding a postcard from a now-abandoned hotel. Believing he has failed again, Vogel destroys the tape to protect his reputation. Just then, Stella arrives with a full camera crew and catches him destroying evidence. The incident ruins Vogel's credibility. He is fired while Loris is released, hailed as a wrongfully accused hero. His family returns and they reconcile. Giorgio encourages him to sue the police for wrongful arrest and suggests they could earn significant compensation. A publisher even offers to write a book about his story, and TV channels compete for interviews. In a final bid for redemption, Vogel agrees to appear alongside Loris on live TV. But as he watches Loris prepare for the interview, Vogel notices something chilling: a small O drawn on Loris's wrist, the same symbol Anna mentioned in her diary. Through flashbacks, it's revealed that Loris orchestrated the entire ordeal. Financially and emotionally frustrated, he saw the mutilator case and the legend of the Fogman as opportunities to fake his own innocence and profit afterward. He targeted Anna because she resembled the original victims, followed her for days, and on December 23rd, lured her using the cat. He abducted her, brought her to the abandoned hotel, recorded the video, and ultimately killed her. In the present, Vogel confesses to Dr. Flores that he planted evidence because he believed the system wouldn't bring justice. But Flores, piecing everything together, suspects Vogel murdered Loris after the broadcast. He immediately calls the police. Moments later, officers burst in and arrest Vogel. As he's taken away, Vogel notices a fish sculpture on the wall and remarks cryptically that Flores seems like a man who only catches one kind of fish. In the final scene, Dr. Flores returns home and descends into his basement. There, he opens a box containing 6 strands of red hair, revealing that he is the real Fogman, the serial killer who murdered 6 girls 30 years ago.